I'm Manu Prasad at Manuscripts on Twitter, heading social at Myntra. So, a billion users on Facebook, each of whom discover new people, new things to like, and new things to share almost on a daily basis. So it's no surprise that brands would want to be part of this action beyond sponsored ads and sponsored stories. But what we're probably missing is a silver bullet that will magically mix business objectives with social media and give us the metrics on a plate. So we get back to likes and comments as our only measurement parameters, which is a little bit sad because there are engagement frameworks out there which are not universal truths, but that can actually help us guide us towards better metrics. So what we're going to do here is to look at a couple of those and also therefore look at life after like. So I'm slightly lazier than Arun, so I went on to Google. This agency called Ernberg Bass, based in Australia, supported by Coke, P&G, etc., came up with this number, 1.3, as a percentage of people who interact with the brand after the like button. This is based on people talking about this. Facebook's own metric that looks at unique users that have created a story out of a page in a 7-day time frame. Now this could be liking a page, liking a story, commenting on a story, sharing the story, tagging a Facebook page in a photo, and so on and so forth. All of this put together is at 1.3. And if you take away the laziest thing that you can do on Facebook, the like button, it goes down to 0.45. How did we get here? So in the beginning, when Facebook started growing in prominence, brands look at it the only way they knew, like traditional media, without really evaluating the platform itself. So the hunt was on for the maximum fans and likes in the shortest time frame possible, without again thinking of the value that you could actually give the fan. This fans race continued until somebody asked, so what? You have a zillion likes. What is it actually doing for your business? Most people didn't have an answer. And therefore, we figured out that there really is no return on fans and likes. We quickly moved on to the next buzzword, engage. From very simple metrics like monthly active users as a percentage of lifetime likes to slightly more sociology-based definitions like engagement as a function of outcome, behavior, and attitudes, we were all over the place. We were probably trying to match it with the Facebook EdgeRank algorithm. That's a bit of a rocket science in itself. So while we were hunting for this one engagement index that rules them all, we figured out that what is a great engagement strategy for one brand could actually be facepalm for another. The problem is not really with engagement, it is how we define it for our purpose. So this judge, US judge, Potter Stewart, while he was remarking on an obscenity case, said, I know it when I see it. Great brand engagement is a bit like that. Hard to define, but easy to recognize. What we should probably look for is the value exchange that we are actually providing the user. It could be, for example, product. A Nike Plus goes beyond measuring exercise and helps you engage with your friends by helping them support or encourage your exercise goals. So that's slightly above product in terms of the value you're giving user. A little bit of plug on Myntra. So at Myntra, we do a lot of content sharing. We hope that people will talk about the trend forecast, trend reports, and fashion tips that we give them and use them in their day-to-day consumption of fashion and lifestyle. The value we are trying to provide to the user is content. Zynga for a lot of people is about milking cows and tending farms and all that. But if you look at it very simplistically, it's actually providing value by connecting people through game dynamics. So the value there is social itself. Now across the web, you'll find several frameworks that allow you to miss big business objectives with social media. You'll have the Altimeter framework, which gives you about 6 business cases for social media. For marketeers, there is the Booz & Co framework, which looks at different parts of the marketing funnel and tells you exactly what you do with social media at each part of the funnel. The thing to remember here, or rather look at, is the motivations of the user, especially in the context of your domain. An IBM study showed that there's a huge perception gap between what brands think people want to hear from them on social media and what people really want. So one good thing to do is to fix this perception gap before you move forward. Engagement, as Karthik said, is only a means, not really an end. Therefore, you have other platforms and features that could actually help you achieve your business objectives. You could probably be a Zappos and do some great customer care on Twitter. You could be an offline retailer and look at driving traffic towards your store and rewarding loyalty through Foursquare. You could look at Yammer to do some enterprise collaboration within your organization and build social within. You could look at building thought leadership through WordPress or any of the other blogging platforms out there. You could look at YouTube or Pinterest to get traffic to your site. You could build a great employer brand through LinkedIn. You could also use Google Plus Hangouts to connect internal and external audiences. But Facebook is a hero, so we'll get back there. Because of its huge number of likes that brands have amassed over a period of time, Facebook acts as a media in itself. So if you look at the chart on the right, you'll figure out that, on my right that is, you'll figure out that Facebook is right up there in terms of referral sources of traffic. So like every other media, it offers you this paid, owned, earned options. Brand managers will also complain about pwned media, which is actually what happens when people get angry with a brand. You could also do shared media using social plugins on your site or from the page itself. You could do promoted media through sponsored stories. So all these are additions to the regular POEM framework. So it is media, and therefore you can probably put in anything through it. You could look at putting up content from your site or blog. You could talk about your product features. You could talk about, you could do contests only on social. You could do job listings. You could do brand or corporate communication, pretty much everything. And how are you going to measure all of this? Facebook Insights itself give you a good idea of the audience, the demographics involved, age, gender, location. It also gives you the reach of each kind of media that you're using. In addition to that, there's a huge Excel sheet that you can take as insights, which give you people talking about this, engaged users, and tons of other things. In addition to that, if you're probably sharing a link on Facebook, you could check, you could use a UTM source to check out the traffic that it is generating towards your destination site. You could look at the bounce and compare that to the other media that you're using. If you're doing a brand track and you probably are doing tonality experiments on Facebook, you could check what is the reaction to that. You could look at response to contests and compare them to offline contests that you have done. And at a rough level, look at the cost per reach and compare it to other media platforms. Commerce on Facebook is getting quite a beating because of probably some bad publicity and the fact that brands like JCPenney, Gap, etc. are closing their shopfront on Facebook. But there are other guys out there, less vocal about it, but doing some great stuff around the social and interest graph. They're doing exclusive deals, pre and post-purchase sharing, like Tesco's F&F fitting room or Diesel's Diesel Cam, which they've integrated with the offline stores. They're also using the open graph to pull in the social network of the user into the site's context. Levi's friend store is probably a great example of that. How are you going to measure all of this? Through the actual transactions that happen, the value of the transaction, and probably the lifetime value of the customer, repeat transactions, and probably the cost per sale when you compare it to the other sales channels. Listen is probably what everyone says. Do that on social media, because it gives you an idea of the perception that people have about your brand. Once you get there, from experience, it's good to define your scope and therefore manage expectations of your users. You could link to resources because people ask a whole lot of questions on Facebook, and you could surface the content that already exists on your site or a customer care platform that you already use. Because of the amount of data that Facebook throws up, and because you can connect it to the consumption, probably you can start your baby steps in social CRM. You could identify super fans who will probably help you create and build the community that you would want for your brand. How are you going to measure all this? The reduction in call volumes at your call center for a time frame, the issues that are resolved by the community, customer satisfaction indices like turnaround time, positive mentions about your brand, and the referrals that come out of Facebook for your brand. This is basically about insights, not Facebook insights, but regular insights that you can draw. You can ask questions. For example, when we post at Myntra, we typically ask the audience what they'd like to talk about or hear about, and we give our opinions on that. This usually works on Facebook. You're going to probably also use it. You're going to hear experiences, opinions, and perceptions about everything about your brand. Product, design, marketing, sales, pretty much everything. Even though you don't want to, your users will probably talk about your competition and compare them. So this is a great place for competitive insights. You could test out your ideas on Facebook before you throw it out to a larger audience. How are you going to measure all of this? The quality and quantity of your feedback and the resonance of the idea that you've tested on Facebook among a larger audience. So these are some of the things that you can try out on Facebook and some of the metrics that you can use. This is one of my favorite tunes out there, Gaping Void. Business is socializing with a purpose. What you've got to do is probably look at your business objectives, look at social media, and follow a path that probably aligns well with both. To quote the Facebook founder, in terms of implementation, done is better than perfect. Try it out, test it out, experiment, improvise, rinse, repeat. If you do find the silver bullet, let me know. Thank you.